170 town centres in New South Wales nominated for dual occupancies, unit blocks, terrace style homes. It has happened under your nose. We're going to talk about it quickly this morning to give you a basic understand. And tonight we're also doing a massive educational night in the office on the same topic, sold out. Stay tuned.
Morning.
Good morning, Josh Wapshott.
How are you, Mark Novak?
Yeah, really good.
Fantastic. Yeah, gearing up for a big night tonight.
Big night tonight. We've invited our community to come talk about the changes that the Mins led government has brought in relation to putting unit blocks into town centres all around the northern beaches and all around New South Wales. And it still surprises me. It takes a while for good news to spread. And I'm still having conversations every day where I talk with people about it. They're like, what? Huh? What? Huh? It's like, how have you not heard of this? How do you not know?
Yeah, it's a massive changes in terms of, your restrictions for building heights, your floor plan, your FSRs. Huge. I'm speaking to people every day about it as well. So big topic, and obviously everyone wants to know because we've got about, I believe, 117 people coming tonight.
Big night, sold out. We can't take any more people, and it is going to be a Q&A session as well, which is going to be very cool for people that have got those questions on their lips. Now, let me just take it right back to the intention of what's happening, and clear up some of the things which even internally in our office, where between salesperson people, we're talking about this and clearing this up. Dual occupancies can now be done on the northern beaches. They don't have to be 800 or 400 metres to a town centre. All of this stuff was introduced because they need the necessity to get more property and more density into New South Wales. So the Mins, have been trying to do it for years and years through local councils, but they have been shrouded in red tape with local planning laws. So the new planning laws that come over the top on a statewide level, over the top of local government, are switching off certain density controls and certainly controls within our LEP, our planning controls. So they're saying where they normally would say, well, you can't build higher than 8.5. The new legislation that's come through and overridden, still left in place the old legislation local, but the state's come over the top and said, guess what? We're switching off the 8.5. It's now 17.5. So there's controls, as an example, like that are being switched off only if you qualify. So can you tell us about the qualification of 800 metres, 400 metres, Josh?
Yeah, so essentially within that 400 metres, you're eligible up to 6 stories high. Something that you go beyond that 400 metres for something like townhouses, manor housing, you're looking at blocks as small as 450 metres squared. So sitting on a plate of 225 metres squared, must be facing the street and have a frontage of 12 metres. Also things like FSRs to 0.1.5. And these changes are massive, Mark. I mean, I've dealt with a few developers on a few sites, and the growth in the Sydney market and the cost of construction. Once you pair these two together, you start to unravel why there's not more of this going on prior to this change. it's just not feasible with the growth in Sydney pricing, and obviously vendors sticking quite tough at prices, and no one's selling cheap, especially on the northern beaches, and inflationary pressures on common goods that has jacked up pricing on construction. There really is no margin for developers. So for something like this, that does now unlock the potential for them to come in, invest their money, and create more homes in the local area.
Now, to give you an idea, guys and girls, if you want to, maybe if you just write this in the comments, Josh, if you SMS this word, so grab this phone number, 0460 111 and we're going to give you the tools to identify your area, your zoning, and if you can do a unit block in where you live. So the phone number 0460 111. Send the word rezone. It's not actually a rezoning. I'll explain that in a sec. But send the word rezone, REZONE, to that phone number 0460 111. We will send you back a 3-step process on how to identify if your property or your property next door is going to be able to have a unit block built there. So just to qualify it, what the government's done is they've selected particular town centres that could take the capacity. One of the first things that they chose with town centres, so for instance, in Northern Beaches, they chose, to name a few, Mona Vale, Manly, Manlyvale, DY, French's Forest, I think Forestville, and the reason they chose and then they've said if you're within 400 metres, you can build a unit block. As an example, if you're an R3 zoning, they've said if you're within 800 metres, you could build terrace housing. If you meet certain qualifications, which are not really hard. But SMS that number and you'll get the boom, 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 boom. How to identify if you're in that zone.
Yeah, that's been very helpful. And we've had a few discussions with people texting. Like, I think we've had a really good response in regards to that text message. So plenty of conversations and plenty of people interested to see, what is happening, what are the changes. One question I probably had for you, Mark, is with this legislative change, do you see it lasting and for how long?
I think it'll be around a couple of years. I don't think it'll be around forever, and we're running some pretty high level information for clients now. People are really getting their head around it. They're understanding how to map all that out, and some areas which you actually think will actually be a ripper are not. Some areas actually work. So there's things into it which also include the cost of building. There's into things that just because there's changes within your zoning on 100, if you just tuned in, on 170 town centres around New South Wales, just because you've got that flexibility in your zoning now, it doesn't mean that it works. Cost of building is one of those things. What the end product would be worth is another one of those things. These are moving targets. So to give you an idea, if there are a lot of unit blocks going to be built in the area, it could well push the prices down and make that more affordable, that price range. So developers are also not only running their maths, but they're saying, we don't want to be stuck with these units. So let's where we think the units would have been worth today, $1.2 million. If there's a plethora of units, they might only be worth 1.1. So it's been interesting, some of the modelling that I'm seeing get done.
Yeah, so that's an important point, Mark. They're having a real understanding of the depth of market in terms of what they're going to be bringing in, how much at once, because that's definitely going to have a play on the current market. As you say, it's your demand and your supply luckily for the northern beaches, we've always got a healthy amount of demand, but it's supply that seems to be the thing that doesn't change as much. So it will have, and it will have an effect.
And you can also put that concept over building, because everyone's going to be more people are going to be chasing a builder. So if that's the case, then maybe building costs are going to go up. So you've got to you've got to have that foresight as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we run these events like we are tonight, so that, you can only really arm yourself with information in order to how to plan and tackle the future. So that's why these events are so important, and that's why we're sold out this evening. So it'll be great.
So tonight we've got a town planner as well, which is these guys have been have been very sought after people in the last month or two, with all these changes coming through, because people don't know where to go for the information. They jump on the portal that the government supplied, which I gave you that SMS number for. It'll give you that, and then they're a little bit like a kid in a candy shop, but they don't once they've consumed all that information, they don't know what to do then.
Exactly right. And then we got a comment from Lisa. Will this become a construction issue? So it was sort of playing on what you were saying before, Mark.
I think it will, if it stacks, but it's this component of the rezoning is a piece of the puzzle. It's not the puzzle that's being completed. It's part of it. So construction's another component. Resale price is another component. There's other bits to it as well. But yeah, certainly, it may be good. And another thing people may be doing is you may end up just getting the approvals put in place for later. So if you can sit on your DA approval for 3 years, you can sort of park it till you could push the problem down the road a little bit, where it may ease up a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely want to be prepared, and good point, Lisa. We will be live streaming tonight. So guys, if you couldn't make it inside, make sure to stay on the channel. We'll be live streaming the event. So plenty of big pockets of information to absorb. So make sure you don't miss it.
And don't forget 0460 111 if you want us to send you the information for tonight. It's just up on the screen there. Hit that number 0460 111 and write that word rezone, and you'll get a 3-step process to identify if your property is going to be eligible.
Yeah, exactly right. That'll be great. And we'll be putting together a little post show next week for you guys to delve into what Mark and the town planner had pulled out of the conversation from tonight. So stay tuned.
Happy days, and have a great day, everyone. Josh, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Mark.
I'm happy to hear that your dog's better.
Yeah, so am I. See you guys.
See you guys.